We need to talk about Don Lorenzo, the Ace Eater from Blue Lock. Lorenzo is currently a part of the World's 11 for Italian UBERS-League. He is going to be a player that is selfishly obsessed with his self-perception in the World League, much like the fact that he has grills and the fact that he is known as the Striker Eater. I think he's most likely going to be a player that is going to care way more about their self-perception and their world standing. And I think he most likely became a defensive player simply due to the fact that there's so much talent and so much energy being put in towards being a striker. Therefore, if he could take his sadistic pleasure in being able to destroy the careers and lives of other strikers, it puts for a higher world standing than any of the other strikers, simply due to the fact that if you're a fantastic striker, you're most likely never going to be considered the world's number one. However, if you are someone who's known for defeating the most prominent strikers in the world, simply to increase his value and increase his world standing more than any other striker out there, since it is extremely difficult in order to actually get a striker worth talking about. That's why I think he most likely took up the defensive player, simply due to the fact that it's easier and there's less. While the position itself may not be as glamorous as being a striker, all he cares about is most likely going to be the value that he can bring to himself and himself alone. That is why being a defensive player is better. You won't have to pass as many times, or won't have to deal with as many players as he would if he were a striker. This way, as a defensive player, he can be selfishly obsessed with taking down the strongest players without having to constantly put too much strain on his body or strain on the game itself. He won't have to try as hard, and he'll be able to accomplish his goals way easier as a defensive player. Is most likely the reason why Bachida Megadu from the Spain team was able to score so easily, considering the fact that just didn't guard him, as he was guarding another player with more value. That is probably the reason why Spain was able to take that one shot and actually score a goal. Even so, I think that Lorenzo is going to be a very strong player. If we were to take Sergio Ramos, who is currently the most paid player as a center back, he is currently worth about 50 million in pounds. He is currently worth 50 million pounds, 19 years old. And considering the fact that Lorenzo is probably around that age, it would most likely stand to reason he's probably worth about 280 to 350 million yen in the current league, in the current world standing, which is where I would probably place his value at current. If we were to go on to his stat sheet, I would probably put him at the same speed as Kaiser, consider Kaiser right in the middle of his blitz attack. His defensive capabilities is probably the best out there. It's about 98. In shooting, I would probably put Lorenzo at about 98 in defense. Considering the fact that Lorenzo is not the striker that is actually being able to score goals on the team and is actually borrow showy, I think he's going to have a very good passing capabilities, considering the fact that he's probably going to be the one that's going to be passing the ball to Barrow. Now, when it comes to dribbling, he's probably going to have a dribbling style similar to that of taunting. He's probably going to have a dribbling style centered around humiliation, considering the fact that Lorenzo is probably going to be the type of player that wants to destroy the self-reputation of other players, considering he is known as the striker or the ace eater. He's probably going to be a player who is going to easily be able to have strong ball keeping capabilities and overall ball skill, considering the fact that he has just been able to he took the ball from Kaiser and immediately with the ball, lifting the ball up, Currently, he probably has very good ball maneuverability, which is probably going to be a part of his dribbling style, considering the fact that he's probably going to want to taunt players religiously and obsessively in order to make them look as dumb as possible, to make Lorenzo look better, which is probably going to be a part of why he is the player that he is currently. When it comes to offensive capabilities, I think he's going to be very good offensively. I just don't think he's going to be able to be the type of offensive player that's actually going to be able to go down the field as much as possible. I think he has good stamina, but I don't think it's going to be something of S tier. So I'm going to put him at A tier offense. Now when it comes to his shooting capabilities, I do think he's kicking a goal. However, I think that he's too obsessed with his self-reputation to actually be able to shoot and score goals. Why? Because if he misses, it may actually tarnish his reputation as a striker, which is most likely the reason why he became a defensive player in the very beginning. I do think if push came to shove, he would actually be able to strike and be able to score a goal. However, I don't think he'll actually consider that because it might actually come to bite him in the back and actually be able to ruin his self-reputation, which I think he cares about far more than actually winning the game. So I'm going to put his shooting capabilities at 77. Overall, I do think he's a better player than Kaiser because it takes more skill to be a defensive player than an offensive player. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Lorenzo is actually going to be a very capable player? Or do you think that he's going to be a player that Kaiser is going to be able to get past? I don't really think so because considering he's on the same level or same reputation as Kaiser, he's probably not going to be able to get very obsessed and I think his main objective is going to be able to stop Kaiser at all costs, which is really going to hurt Kaiser's capability of being able to score a goal, considering the fact that Lorenzo is a player that can be very good defensively and is emphatically take him down as a striker in order to boost his own ego. I do not believe that he's going to be a player that can be beaten so easily or even is going to be able to allow Kaiser to even be able to shoot a score or score a goal. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below.